Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cartoon Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Julian. Today I'm joined by Brad. Brad, long time coming. Welcome back to the show, sir. How are you?
Great, Julian. Good to see you, man.
Oh man, it's glad to have you, man. The last time you were on, my stomach hurt for hours, days after. You made me laugh so hard, and I've brought you up so many times to so many of your friends that I've had on. So thanks again for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be our Halloween episode, and we're talking Treehouse of Horror. We're going to do the
Yeah.
Simpsons deep dive, and Brad's five, I think he gave me five episodes that you liked, and a lot of those episodes were some of the episodes I liked as well the most. Now, we might have a guest pop in, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon might be joining us a little bit later, but I figure we can talk about the Dolphins Treehouse of Horror. And the
hmm
question I told you that I was going to ask you as soon as we hit it, how'd you guys get Glory Hole through
I
in 96?
have a feeling. I remember when we were working on it thinking this is never going to make it on the air. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, but my guess is it was one of those things that at the time, the standards and practice, people probably didn't even know what it was. And so I think it just made it through. And then who knows if they ever figured out what it really was, but it just was subtle enough that like if you didn't know what it is, it sounded pretty innocent. It's a
Well,
glory hole.
so I'm downstairs. I'm watching Bluey with the kids, and they're over there watching. I'm watching it on my phone because I'm trying to get reacquainted with some of these episodes that I haven't seen in quite some time. And then you see Homer go, "Oh man, we gave you guys glory holes," and I'm go, "Uh-oh." Wife looks at me real quick. I'm like, "It's The Simpsons. That's all we're watching." But I loved the episodes you brought up. We're gonna talk Monkey Paw. We're going to talk dolphins. We'll talk the possessed Krusty doll is another big one
Of course,
for these
yeah.
ones. And then Brandon's got a couple of them that he had put out there with Dracula, with Mr. Burns being Dracula and Bart
I thought of
turning into
another one
vampire.
that I forgot about. By the way, I went through last night just my own IMDb to remember which Halloween episodes I worked on. I worked on 12 of them.
God damn.
And I wrote them down, but it made me realize long before I worked on The Simpsons, the 3D Homer. I
Hmm.
mean, legendary Homer in that 3D land, remember?
Hmm.
The first CG Homer sitting there going, scratching his ass, going, this place looks expensive. Brilliant.
So did you get to work on? You said you got to work on that one too.
No, that was before my time.
Oh, before your time. Now,
Yeah, I started in
so
season 7, so I still got to be there for some of, the what I consider sort of like the golden years.
Now, what is it? I asked you this question the first time you're on. What was it like seeing your name in the credits and stuff? But it's like when I think of Simpsons, it's like synonymous with Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
So, how soon from you getting onto the Simpsons are you working on this first Halloween special for you?
Yeah, so I started in season 7. I was 19 years old it's called a character layout artist. It's sort of like a
Hmm.
key animator. And I did that for the first 2 years and I didn't work, and you work on a few episodes a season. I didn't work on any Halloween episodes, but it was in season
Seems like seven,
10
10.
that I storyboarded my
Mm.
first Halloween episode. And when I say Halloween episode, meaning like a third of an episode, because
Yeah.
on a normal half-hour episode, there's always three storyboard artists that deal with the three chunks,
Mm.
act one, two, and three, the 8 or so minutes between commercials. But what's special about the Halloween episodes, as you know, is it's always three short stories
Hmm.
and they're bonkers. They're never just like normal stories. They're
Yeah.
really crazy and tend to be, classic spoofs of horror movies. But as a storyboardist, you really get to own it. You get to own your one third. And so my very first one, season 10, was Hell to Pay.
Hmm.
Remember that one? It's the one
Remind me.
where Homer or Snake, Jailbird,
Yeah.
the criminal guy. I can't remember how, but he gets killed, and they take his hair, and Homer gets it as like a transplant, but the hair comes to life. I think at first it makes Homer start committing crimes,
Hmm.
and it controls him, but that's why Hell to Pay, like to pay.
Yeah.
That was the first one I storyboarded, and like I said, that was just blew my mind that I was like responsible for an entire little mini, Halloween story. Um, I don't know if you want to go down the list now or later, but I can tell you all the other Halloween acts I worked on.
While we're on this one, I want to know because whenever you're talking about that, and I haven't seen that one in quite some time, but it reminds me. You remember the movie Idle Hands?
I don't think I saw it, but I know what it is.
Yeah,
It might
homeboy
have been
gets
a
his
spoof of
hand.
that.
Yeah, homeboy makes his hand gets possessed by the devil. He cuts it off. He microwaves it. Seth Green's in that one. Oh man, I can't think of her name. really pretty actress back in the day. She was like the girl next door. Um, but yeah, it was just one of those old stoner flicks from the 90s. Really,
Right.
really good movie. But that was what it reminded me of with the toupee.
I'm
So it's
sure it was a spoof of that or some other classic horror movie. Almost all of the Halloween acts or mini episodes are a spoof of some famous, you know, horror movie or TV show.
what I loved about the Halloween. I mean, of course, the all of the episodes. I mean, The Simpsons have always played into like that real meta like vibe where it's social commentary, right? And
Hmm.
what I loved about the Dolphins one in particular, going back to that one for just a second,
Yeah.
was how many movie references you guys got in there. You got it with Free Willy when Lisa gets
Yeah.
the dolphin to jump over. You get the Jaws element with when Lenny's out there, he's swimming and they just come up and grab him. And I
Right.
can't remember.
The
It might have
birds, of
been.
course. The birds is
Yeah.
the biggest one. That was kind
Um,
of like, I think the main conceit of that episode is like, what if it's a spoof of the birds,
mhm.
but instead of birds, it's dolphins, attacking Springfield. This is so
The nicest
ridiculous.
of animals. And it was ridiculous, but it was like everything was so fitting. You know what I mean? Because you're grown up to think like all these dolphins are like really, really cool. And it was around the same time that I see this episode, that I see the episode of King of the Hill where Luann gets Hank tickets to go swim with the dolphins, and then the dolphins end up raping Hank. And then he goes and
Right,
yeah,
right.
he sues the what is it called? The
Like the
hotel or
Marine
whatever it
Park.
was, the resort. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was just like, wow, dolphins are assholes. And it is like one of my favorite parts, and it's such a quick scene in there. But like Homer, and when he's trying to rally the people, and then that little baby dolphin that Lisa helps get the little plastic clip off of his nose. She
Yep.
takes it off, bites him, and then he punches the baby dolphin right in the face. You
Yes.
know, it was just such a wild fucking episode. And you said you got to work on this one?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why that was one of my favorites is I was really close. I don't the writers and the storyboard artists don't generally have too much crossover, but at the time I was really good friends with the writer Caroline Omine.
Mhm.
And so she was nice enough to kind of let me riff a little bit on the story. And then the director of that episode, Matt Nastak, is one of my favorite directors on The Simpsons. It was the first time that I really felt like I was like a part of the writing, and Matt also just let me really go off script. So um all the Halloween episodes tend to be a little looser in their writing because they're so visual, and that's where as a storyboard artist you relish those
Mhm.
opportunities to sort of take a sentence that, like the dolphins start beating the crap out of the humans. Like, what does that mean? You can come up with like a thousand different gags.
Yeah.
So that was sort of the fun of that episode. It was a little looser in the writing, and I don't remember exactly which ones I came up with, but a lot of the antics of the dolphins and the humans fighting each other were things that I came up with. So that was just extra rewarding as a storyboard artist to be like, I came up with that idea. That was probably why it was my favorite. I was just working with two of my favorite people
Mhm.
getting to riff. Plus, it's just like a hilarious episode. And I use that episode all the time. To this day, whenever I like teach, classes or students, about storyboarding, it's always the episode I use as an example, to sort of break down the animation process, everything from script to storyboard to design to animation. It's a fun breakdown, using that episode because it's just so bonkers and visual.
So, when I had you on the first time, I asked you if you ever thought you'd get to work on The Simpsons. Obviously, you got to work on The Simpsons. You got to do some Treehouse of Horror. Now, I told you it's like synonymous with The Simpsons. You can't have The Simpsons without the Treehouse of Horror and vice
Yeah.
versa. What is it like is this the first episode you guys typically work on in production, or is all the episodes farmed out and everybody kind of gets to pick and or well, you don't get to pick and choose, but you get to get linked up with certain storyboard artists and writers and directors?
Yeah, there's just a production order, and it's sort of the luck of the draw of which episodes you get on. There is a tendency with Halloween episodes for people to like volunteer, like, oh, please, can I work on it? And so if you're
Mhm.
lucky enough, you can ask to work on it, or even read the script and ask which to work on a specific act if one of them really calls to you. And I think the directors tend to be pretty accommodating because, of course, they're going to want a storyboard artist who really is passionate about
Yeah.
any particular story. They also are harder. It's like you don't get more time, but if
Mhm.
you're storyboarding a Halloween act with that's wall-to-wall action of dolphins beating the shit out of humans versus a typical episode that's like more just kind of like, characters standing around talking. It's a lot more work, but it's so much fun, Like as a most storyboarders would die to work on a Halloween episode.
Well, I remember you telling me the first time we had you on is when you were talking about, especially as a young artist, you got a lot of crowd shots, a lot of like fill-in shots.
That's
And I
always like a
remember
punishment when you're
Well, I
new.
remember that. I remember you telling me that, and then I look at the episode, and it's just like fucking Lord of the Rings with all of the dolphins showing up when everybody
Yeah.
shows up on the mountain. I'm like, man, I wonder if this is what he was referencing when he's like, "Fuck, I hate my life," drawing all of these goddamn dolphins, man. So what is that like? Are you guys Xerox, or what were you Xerox in that one, or did you have to go in there and individually draw every dolphin?
Well, somebody had to draw every dolphin, and that was definitely pre-digital days. So, I
Hmm.
mean, even now, everything's still hand drawn. There's just more shortcuts with like painting digitally.
Hmm.
But back then, and I guess even now, as a storyboard artist, you don't have to draw too much detail in a crowd shot. Like the storyboard is really just like like a rough
Yeah.
blueprint for the animators. So I'll draw a little like stick figures for a crowd or like little like call them bowling pin characters so that
Hmm.
you can just draw it fast, gets you the idea. But some animator has to, character by
Painstakingly.
character, pose it out, and there's no shortcuts. There's no like copy paste. Like you're drawing it. The one thing that can be a little fun about doing crowd shots, and I don't know how much this stuff happens anymore, but back in my day when I did have to do a crowd shot, I always drew me and my friends in the crowd.
Really?
Always. Yeah, I mean, there's rules about like how far you can go with it. Like you can't add a ton of details because if you have a big crowd shot, they're supposed to look kind of generic, right? So
Yeah.
if you have a big crowd shot and suddenly there's like, me with my very specific beard and a hat and a logo on it, it's gonna stand out and it's gonna get called out. But if you're subtle about it, you can always hide yourself and your friends and your family in it. There's a shot in the episode where Lisa discovers the fossils of what looks like an angel. Do you remember that one?
Hmm.
I was an animator on that one, and I had to draw this crowd shot where it's like everybody in Springfield standing around like the excavation site where this little angel fossil is being unearthed. And I had to draw the crowd, and there's just a very quick shot, it's called a whip pan, where you whip from one group of people, I think Lisa, to another character, and you're passing all this crowd, and it goes by so fast that I thought, okay, in the camera whip, I can definitely hide me and my friends in there. So famously, there's like a great shot somewhere on my Instagram where I freeze framed it, where you can see me and it's all friends from The Simpsons. Like everybody, all my good friends at the time that were artists on the show, you can totally tell it's us.
So where are you and your friends at in the dolphin episode? I'm gonna go back and watch to see if I can't find it.
Because I was a storyboard artist on that one, I didn't really draw myself into the show. Some other artists may have.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how much that happens these days, to be honest. But back in the day, like we all hit ourselves in the episodes.
Well, you also tried to get old dick and balls in the old vending machine.
Yep. My very first episode, I almost got fired for trying to hide a little wiener in there. Learned pretty quickly that's yeah, not okay.
The good old days, the good old days, man.
The good old
So
days.
with with you being such a huge fan before you get onto the show, you said that was or season 10 or season
Season seven's when I started.
7 is when you started. And so you got to work on the heyday. Most people, and I think you yourself included, was saying like the first 10 seasons are like perfect.
For
They're the
me,
best.
it's the golden years, yeah.
Now, what was it like? It was just the luck of the draw, or did you go up to the director when you got this one and say, "Hey, I really want to work on this one," or did you just, like I said, just get lucky?
The Halloween episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it was luck of the draw, other times I would ask. Um, Not to toot my own horn, but over the years, I think I was one of the stronger board artists, and
Mhm.
I think they tend to give the complicated episodes to the stronger board artists. So I was probably asked to work on them sometimes. But yeah, for the most part, it's just kind of the rotation.
Now, do you generally get to pick? Well, not you. Obviously, probably don't get to pick the director you work on, but do they try to keep you guys? Because I've been told throughout the years that they would try to, depending on the show, that they would try to match funny with funny, action with action when it come to board artist, and then director. Do they try to do the same thing, or do they try to mix and match you in this one?
Yeah, no, they definitely, I think the directors tend to know which storyboard artists are, what their strengths are. So someone
Mhm.
who's really good with action might get the action act. Someone who's good with the more, emotional stuff might get that. I don't know if what I was known for. I guess I was pretty well-rounded, I think.
Yeah. You drew butts really good, I was told by multiple people.
That was my major in college.
Yeah.
Drawing leaders was my minor.
Didn't. Man, still got it. So the other episodes that we talked about, man, do you want to go into the Krusty Doll? Do you want to go into Monkey Paw? I can't remember the other two you had given me, but what are the other ones you want to go into?
It's funny when you hit me up, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking that it was just sort of stream of consciousness. I think the ones that I mentioned for sure were the monkey paw.
Mhm.
Um, I did write them down actually after the fact. Let me see.
You Possess
Yeah,
Krusty Doll was the other one.
the Krusty the Clown doll.
Mhm.
I think I tend to remember my favorite gags from each of those episodes. Like I
Mhm.
loved in the one where Krusty was a little doll that was attacking everybody. There was a scene where I think Homer was trying to kill the Krusty doll and threw him into a laundry bag of like dirty socks. And there's
Your
just
dirty
something
socks aren't
so
going to
funny
get me.
about what's that?
He's like, your dirty socks aren't going to take me out, and then he passes
Right,
out.
but they are making me dizzy. But what's so funny about it to me is you're not seeing Krusty's face during that shot. You're just seeing the sack, and
The
you're seeing the
outline.
little
Yeah.
like arms and legs pushing out. And he's like, your dirty socks aren't gonna kill me. They are making me dizzy, though." To me, that just cracked me up. That was my favorite moment from that one. Of course, the one I think it's called Devil in Homer Simpson, where uh, Flanders is the devil and
Yes.
Homer gets sent to hell for ironic punishment. I mean, one of the most classic scenes of all time is when he's being force-fed donuts and the
Yeah.
ironic punishment.
More. More.
More. Just, I mean, that stuff is so brilliant. It's so the writing, the drawings, the physicality, the voice acting, everything about that kind of like moment is brilliant to me.
The other thing that I loved about some of the ones you picked, um, obviously the Krusty Doll sticks out, and then I can't remember if this was in that one that you were just talking about where Ned Flanders was the devil. Was that the one where he had to break in case of an emergency for donut and he broke it and it was at the IOU by Homer Simpson, I ate your donut.
I
Was
think
that
so.
one? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, that was a
This stuff
fantastic,
is
and
so
it's
simple,
well, it was, and it's also you take the nicest guy. It's always, and I love that line. It's like it's never who you expect, or whatever it was. When
right?
Ned was like, "Oh, you're the devil," you know what I mean? So it was just a really cool play from somebody that you've never seen do anything that was can be considered other than holy. You know,
Yeah.
what were some of your favorite parts or favorite scenes from this one in particular?
Um, it's funny. I haven't seen those episodes in so long, but again, it's those moments that stick out. Like for me, it was the
Yeah.
ironic punishment with the donuts. Like those episodes came out in the 90s back before we had the internet and 1,000 channels, and you would watch the same
Mhm.
episodes over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's why those ones are so memorable to me. Like I don't know if kids do that anymore. I mean, even if you're a hardcore Simpsons fan, if you're trying to watch 35 seasons of them, I mean, are you watching them multiple times and memorizing them? I don't know. But those first 10 seasons, I mean, I had every episode taped and I would rewatch them and I could quote them. So, but I haven't watched those in years.
What's up, Brandon?
Hey
Welcome
Brandon,
back.
how's it going?
Oh,
Hey,
and he's gone.
son of a bitch. Can you hear me at least?
Yeah, we can hear you. You
Okay,
sound
good.
fantastic. You sound handsome today.
Thank you. I don't know why everything's screwing up on me.
I
Oh,
saw you
it's
for a
okay.
second.
Yeah. This
Got me all
camera, man.
excited.
I gotta get
Brandon,
a new one.
Brandon, this is Brad. Brad, this is Brandon.
What's going on, Brandon? Nice to
Br
meet you.
Brad, nice to meet you too.
Like I said, I'll cut out this whole part right here, and then the part at the beginning. Like that Brandon here, this I've never met somebody in my life that can fucking tell you everything you want to know, don't want to know, and you think you should know about animation. Like this dude's memory when it comes to fucking anything. Like I'm pretty sure mine is just eaten. You can blame it on the weed, not on my heart, because like I really tried my best. but like the most minute details I've ever seen in anything when it comes to breaking down animation, this fucking guy's got it. He'll probably tell you every line of dialogue, every scene when it comes to what you've worked on when you just pop up any random show. It's awe-inspiring when it comes to it.
Wow, okay. Is Simpsons up
Uh,
there for you, Brandon?
it's pretty up there. I know plenty of stuff. I haven't, like it's I don't know what a lot is composed to like not a lot because animation's kind of like my obsession. So it's like I
Mhm.
I typically end up knowing more than most people about something, even when I don't think I do. But
What are your
uh,
favorite shows?
Avatar, Last Airbender,
Okay.
definitely top tier. Oh man, I had this list like kind of composed. Gargoyles, definitely one of my top tier shows of all time. Batman, TAS, obviously the animated series, one of the greatest. Um, yeah, I mean, those are probably the three that come to mind mostly. I would
Okay. So
say.
definitely more like action, mythology, comic book type
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah, for
And
sure,
Julian,
for
I'm still
sure.
trying to piece your preferences together. Definitely like old school Cartoon Network and then like the prime time
Mhm.
Fox
Oh yeah.
stuff. That kind of your sweet spot?
Oh yeah. Anything that'll make me forget about how depressed I am for
Uh,
22 minutes, you know what I mean? So make me laugh, make me cry, make me like, oh shit, that fight was really cool. I always sound like whenever I watch cartoons, whenever I talk to Brandon, you remember that skit in SNL with Chris Farley when he's interviewing people and he goes, "Hey Ringo, remember that time you or wow, I can't think of the other Beatle that he did it with, but he goes, "Remember that time you guys were together?"
Courtney.
Yeah, Paul McCartney, thank you. He's like, yeah, that was pretty cool. That's
That
what
was
I sound
awesome.
like whenever I talk to Brandon. He's like, yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
R.I.P. Chris Farley.
The Chris
All right, well,
Farley
gone
show.
way too soon. And it's funny, and it's topical, man, because it's like he was almost Shrek, the guy behind you
Yeah,
before he
That's
almost, before he
right.
passed away.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fucking wild, dude. Brandon, you want us to roll with no picture and we put your logo up like we did last time?
yeah, I think so because this thing's just not. I need to get a new camera. This thing because it won't work on Ricky's stuff either anymore. It just will
All
not
right.
go
All right,
up
no
there.
worries.
Wait, it's working now.
Now, Monkey Paw was one of those ones, like I had said. It's on my top four, top five list when it comes to the Halloween specials. But where does it sit with you, Brad? Obviously you pulled this one right out because you were talking about the gags and everything like that, man. But what part of this sticks out for you?
I think it just stuck out because it's such a sticky visual, that monkey paw and like the
Mhm.
wishes. It's just a simple, classic, old school Halloween episode. And for some reason, the joke that comes to mind, which is so random, is the Frogurt. The old man. Like I think that was probably a spoof on the guy from Gremlins, the old Chinese man with
Yep.
the shop.
Mhm.
But I just remember him pitching Frogurt, and that just seems
Yeah.
so funny and random. That's all I
What about?
remember from those episodes is like one gag.
Yeah.
Oh, the one
What do you
the
guys
one that got
remember
it for
about
me
that
was
one?
the turkey sandwich at the end when he's like, all right, when Homer goes up and he's like, I'm gonna get the most. He's like turkey sandwich. I think he said on rye, and he lists everything in there. And then, obviously it pops up at the end of it, and then the world peace, of course, and everybody just getting booed. But the turkey sandwich is the one that comes to mind. What
Nice.
about you, Brennan?
Yeah, the turkey sandwich is a classic. It's like I don't want to be turned into a sandwich. I don't want to be turned into a turkey. I just want a good sandwich. Turkey's a
Is
little
that the one
dry.
where he turns his head into a donut?
No, that's
That was the devil.
that
That
devil
was at the end of
episode.
the devil.
That was
Yeah.
the Flanders
Mar
devil episode. Yeah.
Marge is like,
Marge is.
stop picking at it. He's like, I'm so delicious.
I'm so
You didn't do a Marge
delicious.
the last time you were on. That was a pretty good Marge.
We all on the show would develop the ability to do Homer. It doesn't even really sound like Homer. It's just like our take on Homer. It's like, gee, Marge, why,
Merge.
why can't I eat my own head, my own donut head? Doesn't even really sound like him, but that was our way of doing Homer.
You got to get him in there somehow, man. So, Monkey Paw. Well, no, fuck. We just talked about Monkey Paw. The other ones that were mentioned, obviously, were Raven, the Raven. I can't remember who said that one.
Yeah.
And then
I
Brandon,
think that
you
was
had
the
brought
very
up.
first one, right? The first Halloween episode, which wasn't technically in season one. I think it was season two.
Season two. Yeah.
But that, I don't remember what the other two short stories were, but that was just the most like
Yeah.
beautiful one. I mean, visually, and it was just so sims like so classic and simple. Like it was just a poem. read
Yeah.
by what's his
James
name?
Earl Jones.
Writer. Yeah, James
James
Earl
Earl Jones.
Jones.
Yeah.
Like it just
Yeah.
it's one of those things that like we take for granted now, but at the time it made you realize how smart the show was and like how
Mhm.
literate the writers were. Like you felt sort of smart watching it. You're like, yeah, Edgar Allan Poe. Like I do appreciate this.
Yeah. The start of that one was great because Lisa brought out the Edgar Allan Poe book. It's like, I got a story for you. And Bart goes, wait a minute, that's a school book. Don't worry, you won't learn anything. All right.
Yes. You do have a good memory, Brandon.
I
Dude, like I said,
yeah.
he'll hit you on all levels here. Watch, watch. He'll tell you
I'll
some shit about an episode you worked on, Brad, that you
a-
forgot. Watch.
ask my mom's birthday and I won't be able to tell you that one though. So, it all gets dumped for this trivial nonsense. So there you go.
That's good, man. You're a chronicler. We need this. So
Mhm.
one of the episodes that you had brought up, Brandon, which one that I have not seen since you mentioned it, probably better part of 20 years. It
Mm.
was the Mr. Burns, which is hands down, in my opinion, the best character in the entire
Yeah.
series,
Yeah.
is Dracula. So walk us through this one,
Yeah.
man. Why'd you pick this one?
Yeah, Bart Simpson's Dracula is great because it was a parody of all the stuff I hadn't seen yet. I wasn't a horror kid. Like I'm way
Hmm.
into like horror now, but like not super into it, but like I love watching horror stuff now and like watching all the old classics and everything. This was an homage to all the horror stuff of that era, all the vampire stuff because you had what's that Stephen King one with the kid vampires? I can't remember what that was
Oh,
called.
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot is in this, where
Hmm.
Bart floats through the window to Lisa. Mr. Burns looks like
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman from the Bram Stoker's
Mhm.
Dracula version, and it's just got great little jokes in it, like how he invites the Simpsons over, but like he doesn't even remember Bart's name. He's
Right.
just like, well, if it isn't little boy. He has no idea
Yes.
what his name is, and then just the goofy ending where like Marge is the head vampire and all it's
Right.
great stuff. Like just everything about it is like all the good parody of vampire stuff, and it has like an oddly dark ending, and then they all just kind of turn to the camera. It's like and do the happy
Peanuts.
Halloween, the
Mhm.
Peanuts, yeah, the Peanuts ending where they
I
all
have an animation cell from that scene where it's
oh
snowing and they're all like
yeah.
in the kitchen and I think it's Millhouse is playing the piano like Schroeder. The
Yes.
dog's like
Mhm.
dancing on it
That's
and
awesome.
they're
That's
saying
Well, you guys were still at Film Roman at that point, weren't you?
classic.
yeah, yeah, Film Roman we were there for I mean, I guess technically the majority of the show's run was at Film Roman, probably from like season 3 to probably like 25.
Mhm.
Now it's just Fox Animation.
Oh, right on. Do you remember much from this episode, Brad?
As you were regaling us, Brandon, I remembered a scene. I don't know exactly what was happening, but someone was trying to kill Mr. Burns by driving a
Hit him in the
spike into
crotch.
him, and it was
Yes.
like it went right into his crotch, right? Like it was
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that
I
was
That's his
Homer.
feel like
crotch.
Marge was like, that's his crotch,"
That's his
but too
crotch.
low.
Yeah. And then he kills him and he turns into dust and he's like, oh, glad that's over. And he pops back up. You're fired. And then he jumps
Right.
back and it's like, don't.
I tend to remember just little nuances of like brilliant animation, like the moment where he's pounding it and bounding the stake into the crotch, and when he says, "Oh, that's the crotch," there's a little wiggle, and then like a little yank. That's just the nuance of that is just so good.
Yeah. That's
Now,
awesome.
now, I meant to ask you this when you were talking about the dolphin episode, but like, do you ever, when you teach, do you ever take scenes or episodes from something you might not have worked on when you say something like that nuance and then point to it?
No, I probably should, but that, like I said, I was telling Julian earlier that when I teach, I always use the Night of the Dolphins episode as my, example of our production process, everything from storyboard or strip to storyboard to character layout to design to final animation. It's just a fun one to walk through. Plus, I had storyboarded it, so I have all my kind of my own drawings in there. But I wish I could show you. This isn't gonna sound as cool as it looks, but there's a great example in that episode of how much work goes into the crowd shots. You
Mhm.
might remember that at the beginning of that episode, all the characters are at like a SeaWorld like amphitheater watching the Snorky, the dolphin, doing tricks. And then there's an announcement over the loudspeaker that says, um, uh, oh, I can't remember what the announcement is, but anyways, all the characters bum rush the tank, the aquarium to jump in the water and like start petting the dolphin.
Mhm.
And there's just one quick shot that lasts probably less than 1 second of a wide shot of the crowd, like all the, sort of the rows and rows and rows of people in the background going from sitting to standing to like running towards camera. It's such a quick shot, but it's a wide
Mhm.
enough shot that you see every row one by one get up and then run towards camera. And I
Wow.
break down in the key animation, not even the final animation, how many drawings and poses are figured out to go from like the row one, all those miscellaneous crowd characters have to be drawn sitting and then standing and then posing, A, B, C, D running. And then the next row behind them, a little farther away, they have to do the same thing, but they also have to like step from one row to the other. And then the next row and the next row, and there's like 10 rows and it is so many drawings, and they're really rough drawings that are done by what we call character layout artists, just to sort of figure out this 1 second shot. And then that goes to Korea, where some animator has to, drawing by drawing, frame by frame, clean up those drawings, do all the in-betweens, and paint them. And it goes by in a second, and nobody ever thinks about it when they're watching these episodes, how much work goes into a simple shot like that. But I mean, you multiply that by 35 seasons, there's just so many drawings and so much work that goes into every episode. But
Right.
we just take it in.
Yeah.
Do you think
Wow.
Homeboy that got your shot to animate, he's just fucking pulled? He's like, why?
Yes. Absolutely. In fact, like over the years, a lot of us, the directors and the storyboard artists, we got lazy. And when you could do a big wide crowd shot like that, you just figure out like, cheats to do it without having to draw so many characters.
Mhm.
Basically, like if you do a lower angle, you don't have to see quite as many people, but you still get the same vibe. Those are all the
Did you
tricks
ever,
that you learn over the years because you're lazy.
did you ever get to meet any of the people from Korea that might have worked on your episode? Do you guys ever have any crossover?
Typically, no, but I happened to go to Korea. I had my own show that I had it was a short film that I made that I funded myself, and I needed the help of an overseas animation studio. So, and I had no money. I found like a really, really cheap independent little animation studio to like do my animation. And I had to go to Korea to basically supervise that. And so while I was there, I was like, oh, I should go see where they do the Simpsons. In fact, the first studio I went to it's called Rough Draft Korea, to see, the operation. And it was awesome. We had been hearing for years all the stereotypes of how like the Korean animation studios are these sweatshops and they're like in horrible conditions. It was not true. It was super nice. It was a beautiful building. Everybody seemed really happy. I think that it's considered a pretty well-paid job for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, the hours are long, and I think it's not even an animation thing, it's just a cultural thing. They work Saturdays, that's just normal. But they had it really nice, and it was super interesting to see them working on an episode that actually I had animated, or I had done the character layout. So someone was literally doing in-betweens on my scene, and that was kind of cool. But what's funny is after I went and visited Rough Draft Korea, I then went to the little independent studio that I had hired to meet them for the first time, and it was exactly like the stereotypes. It was a really rough operation where
Mhm.
animators are crammed shoulder to shoulder in
Mhm.
tight quarters and working horrible hours. And I felt bad, but like it is a reality for, I think, for I don't know if it's still that way, but this was probably like 20 years ago, but for a lot of the smaller independent studios. But what was cool about that is because I was broke and I was paying for it out of my own pocket and I didn't have enough money for a hotel, I stayed at the studio and got to like, and a lot of the animators would sleep there. And so I
Damn.
like literally like on a cot, like hanging out with like Korean animators for months, getting to know them and like living that life. It was kind of cool. I
Wow.
learned
What
a
was the
lot.
coolest thing you did in Korea?
Um, the coolest thing I did in Korea. Honestly, I just worked my butt off. I had so much to get done that I just worked and stayed at that studio. The studio I was staying at one point, because I'm telling you, it was really a low budget operation. At one point, it got they had a rat problem.
Mhm.
And so they stopped letting us all like sleep there, and they had to move. And then they got evicted too from the house that they were in. It was like all out of a house, so they moved to another location. And this other location I couldn't stay at. Like it wasn't okay for anyone to like stay there overnight. And I had no money. I was like counting on just like crashing at the studio to save money. And so I had a Korean translator who was kind of looking out for me, who like set me up at like a youth hostel nearby. I was just like, whatever's cheap. So it was one of those like Korean youth hostels. And I remember thinking, wow, everybody's here is really friendly and really kind of touchy-feely with me. And after a while, I started getting a little uncomfortable with how many like men were like, like touching me.
Mhm.
And I told my translator, I'm like, there's something about this place that just kind of, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. And she did some research and she was like, oh, my bad. That is a gay youth hostel for young homosexual men. And I probably shouldn't have set you up there. So I ended up staying
Whoops.
there anyways. And I had her like talk to the staff and they're like, can you just tell people to kind of like, leave them alone a little bit? So I don't think I showered that whole month.
That's so awesome, man.
I
Thank you
got
for
through
sharing
it.
that story.
It
And
was fun.
I know you're almost at the end of your time here, so Brandon and I will talk about some of the episodes that he had brought up after you leave. But I'd be remiss not to talk to you about the big old green guy right behind you, man. So what's some of the
Yeah.
things that we can talk about that we won't get you in trouble about Shrek 5?
Yeah, I keep a big poster of Shrek in my office to remind me who I work for.
Yeah.
Uh it's great. This is beyond a dream come true. I didn't, I as you know, Julian, I as a kid loved The Simpsons, and it was the dream come true to work on The Simpsons, and I never really thought beyond TV. I always thought like I'd love to have my own show. But it was kind of just a random circumstances that led me to going from working on The Simpsons to the Minions and now Shrek. I never saw myself working in animated features, but I love it. And it's funny, I think the reason, it's a long story, but a lot of the reasons I think it kind of worked out that I went from Simpsons to Minions to Shrek is, they're actually, as far as feature family movies go, there is a lot of similarities in the tone of Minions, Shrek, and Simpsons. They're all, I'd say, very much like kind of subversive humor. Even though it's a little more family oriented, there's definitely like adult humor in
Mhm.
Minions and in Shrek, and a lot of pop culture references. So it's very much kind of a something in the DNA of Shrek in particular that feels like a good fit between, for me at least, my Simpsons sensibilities.
Well, that's pretty dope, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing this one, and it gets to be a another. Hey, if you guys, do you guys have a release date yet? I can't
Yeah,
remember if you.
July of 2027.
Dude, it's
Still have a
you in
long way to go.
July. You in July movie releases. Like I said, Cooper was first birthday was right at Minions, man. So let's go
Oh
for
yeah.
July 1st. Yeah, see if we can't get Shrek 5 out around the same time. He thought every time I tell him like, "Hey, I had, the guy that made the Minions movie you like so much on." He used to think that like it was his movie. You know what I mean? It was released for him. So can't see if I can't get him to do with Shrek, man. Like Brad, it's always a pleasure, man. I want to do this again a lot sooner than we did last time, just because it's always a blast to chat with you, man. You're a funny dude, and I'm really looking forward to what you're doing next.
Thank you so much, man. Great to talk to you, Julian. Great to meet you, Brandon.
Good meeting you, man.
All right. See ya.
Take it easy, dude.
Mhm.
So we were talking about the crusty doll that
Yeah.
was possessed. Now,
Yes.
why did you pick this one? I have to imagine this is like what, 96, 95 when this one came out?
Yeah. 96, 95. I think. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're a little guy
Um,
at this point, right?
oh yeah. Yeah. I think so. Cause I remember, man, I remember watching the first one, the first
Mhm.
Halloween Simpsons episode. I think I had just started watching Simpsons like I think the year prior because it was season one, the Christmas special where Bart cuts off the head of the Springfield statue. That was
Mhm.
the first episode of Simpsons I ever watched. and it terrified me because the head talked to him. I don't, I don't know if you remember that part.
I do.
But as that like I was scared. Like I was so young that that part terrified me when he was talking to the head. And you know, that's when I learned what the Simpsons was, and I started like it started like showing up every Sunday and stuff. And the Halloween episode, I clicked on that because Halloween episodes were always super fun. And uh, uh, obviously, like I saw the first one. I don't think I have any of the first season ones on my list at all. Um, but Clown Without Pity, which is the evil Simpson, the evil Krusty doll. That was like the first. This is before Child's Play that I'd ever
Yes.
watched. What Child's Play? So it's like, I this was like the first instance of like a killer doll idea.
Mhm.
My dad was a toy collector, so like that idea was like it was
Terrifying.
more, well, it was more cool than terrifying. I was like, oh man, that'd be like, you know, like, so what would it be like if like one of these dolls like came to life or whatever, like. And then it was kind of terrifying thinking about it if it was like, you know, while I was trying
This
to sleep or
fucking
whatever.
GI Joe
Right,
rappelling
yeah.
down your ceiling to fuck
Right,
you up.
exactly, yeah. And it plays into like the reason I enjoyed Toy Story when it first came out
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Just like toys coming to life was a big, kind of a big thing because we had a giant toy room, me and my brother. I I grew up pretty, you know, like fairly, we were pretty middle class, but my dad was very adamant about like keeping his collection, and to keep our hands off of it, he was very upfront about like saving money for, you know, getting us toys as well.
Mhm.
So, you know, we had our bits of like collections too of toys that we liked. So anything with toys like was a big deal. So like the talking Krusty doll toy, you know, was a great thing. So gosh, yeah, I was like 95, 96 when this one came out. So gosh, I was like 10, 11 years old for that one. So, you know, just going into teenage years. So it was cool. It was like it's a great one, and I remember really liking the jokes and everything. I I want to say because is this I can't remember if it was this or the Monkey Paw that had the Chinese shop owner. I can't.
That was the monkey paw.
Okay, it was the Monkey Paw one. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
because it just for some reason like I always associate it with this one because he's like, it was
Shit.
cast. It's this one, I
Fuck.
think, right? I
God damn it. Now I can't remember.
I think it is this one because he talks about like the doll is also cursed, you know, because
Yeah.
it's the joke of like it's cursed, but this is the Frogan is also cursed. And he's like, oh, that's bad, you know, stuff like that. So I can't remember which one it is. It might be this one. It could be the monkey's paw. I'm not entirely certain, but it also ends with the best line I think that ever happened. That was the actual plot of the new Chucky movie, of the new Child's Play movie with Aubrey Plaza, where it's like, here's your problem. Somebody set this doll to evil, and he just clicks the switch to good. Like that's the solution.
I
And
love how they had to call it a handyman out there, or
yeah,
the warranty people for the toy
yeah,
manufacturer.
exactly. Yeah, it's like the frickin' washing machine guy comes by, just like, here you go, and just clicks it back, and like that's it. Like, oh yeah, now he's a
Here's
nice.
your problem.
Yeah, there's your problem. And just that's hilarious. And that was actually literally the plot of the Aubrey Plaza Child's Play movie, which I thought was hysterical. Just like some like uh guy turned off his empathy or something, and he's like, now he's evil. It's so silly. I actually like that movie pretty okay. It's you know, it's not Child's Play, but it's a fun little repeat. But yeah.
I don't do doll movies.
Yeah.
My dad back in the day. I don't know if I've shared the story on a podcast yet. I might have, but my dad back in the day went to Blockbuster. So we're dating ourselves now, ladies and gentlemen, and rented Jaws, the original Jaws, and Child's Play. And
Mhm.
I don't remember much from that movie other than being utterly terrified at Chucky.
Mhm.
And I remember sitting behind my dad, like, so my dad was sitting on the couch, and I'm maybe five at the very most. I was born in 89. I can't remember when Child's Play came out. I want to say like 91, 92, maybe somewhere around there.
Probably about
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So I wasn't very old. I was old enough to know, like, oh fuck, this is not something I should be watching. So I
Mhm.
remember peeking around, my dad's shoulder and watching the movie, utterly terrified. And then my brother did the same thing with Jaws. My brother, my younger brother, would not sit on the toilet because he was convinced Jaws would bite him, and he would
Yeah.
not sit down in the bathtub because he was convinced that Jaws was going to come through the drain.
Yeah.
So I don't do doll movies, but I loved this whole episode. And like I said, I'm just gonna go with the fact that this might be the Chinese salesman on this one because I can't remember if it was this one or the monkey
Right.
paw. But the scene that I one of the scenes that I love is like right when he goes. I really think it's the monkey paw. Oh, but we're gonna have to, ladies and gentlemen, tell us in the, I'm not gonna Google it. I'm not gonna cheat. Tell us in the
Yeah.
comments below
Engagement.
where we're at. Yeah.
Engagement. Tell us down
Um,
below.
but whether it was that episode or this episode, I love when when Homer gets whatever he's got, whether it's the monkey paw or the doll, and he looks back, and then you see like the wind rustling with the leaves, so it looks like he disappeared, and then it
Mhm.
pans over really quick to it. He's like, "No, I'm still right here."
Yeah.
It's such a it's
Classic.
such a dumb little fucking scene, man, but it was so fun. And then
Was.
Brad and I had talked a little bit about this episode because he was talking about. He's like, I don't remember the episodes, but I remember like specific gags because he was like, they just stick out as so funny. And we both hit on when he's trying to get rid of Krusty and he pops him in the laundry bag, and then he's just
Mhm.
pulling it tight, and then he's like, "Oh, you think your dirty laundry's gonna get to me?" And he goes, "Ah, but your dirty socks are making me dizzy." And you see, Krusty's hair popping out all over the place.
Yeah.
So it was just a really fun episode, really stupid, and it's just like I said, it's in those first 10 seasons of The Simpsons. So it's like the golden era of a lot of these Halloween specials, man. Um, what was it about this one that stuck out to you though? Like, why did you pick this one in particular?
Just the jokes that hit on it,
Mhm.
man. Like the jokes are great. I blanked. We're talking about the clown one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Clown.
Sorry. Yeah. It's like, no, just the jokes, like literally like
Yeah.
that finishing joke. There's a Looney Tunes section in between where like he's
Mhm.
trying to kill Homer in different ways. He's
Yeah.
got a harpoon and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's just classic stuff. And then like no one will believe him that the clown's trying to kill him. And uh, honestly, it's probably like it's probably like the best use of Krusty because like
Mhm.
Krusty's like like he's well okay no the one where he's gambling, that's probably my favorite use of Krusty, but like I don't know, like it's Krusty isn't used in the Halloween episodes all that much. I think this is like really the only one that I can think of where he's really utilized. And man, it's just like it's a lot of fun. It's an in-universe like villain, quote unquote, that you can
Mhm.
utilize. It's like it's a perfect parody style episode, and I love it. So it's great.
Yeah. It's definitely up there, man. What were some of the other episodes you had picked up?
I also had Dial Z for Zombies. That was my second
Oh,
favorite
that one was
one.
so fun.
Yeah, that one's classic. The Thing and I with Bart's clone. That's or his twin brother, not his clone, his twin brother that was sectioned off of him. That one's got like that's some of Nancy Cartwright's like best performance part where
Mhm.
she's being like evil Bart or whatever. I forget what his name was. Hugo
Hugo.
was the evil one, and he's just like, it's like, I'm gonna sew us back together, Bart. And it's like, are you like you sure you should? Yeah, he's like, are
The
you sure you
fucking
should?
pigeon and the rat.
I've been practicing. Look, I made a pigeon rat. It's just like this pigeon and rat like sewn together back to back. It's ridiculous. I love it. It's so good.
So
I yeah,
go ahead.
I had no idea that was like a parody of like another movie that had
Mhm.
happened. Is it another movie or a Twilight? There's so many of the Twilight Zone episodes or
Yes.
different movies or whatever. So I think it was a movie. But yeah, like I had no idea that was a thing. So like again, like Simpsons being like the first like avenue into
Mhm.
these other things is like it's so iconic for the Simpsons itself. So just like I would say just on the pigeon rat joke alone, I think that's what put this one at number five. But and it's also I really like the ones that have like really actually terrifying like
Something that
concepts.
could be real. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a horrifying concept that like there's something living in the walls, and like it turns out to be like, oh, it was your evil brother, and then the joke that like, oh, he wasn't the evil one, Bart was, and it's just like, is that really a shocker? It's like so, it's great. Just love that stuff.
I loved obviously, excuse me. towards the end, you find out that obviously Bart was the evil one,
Yeah.
and it's funny because they do a little bit of foreshadowing, just because you see the scar on one side, you see how they're split, and then you see which one
Hmm.
ends up, and you're like, man, am I wondering, or am I just putting too much in this? And by the end of the episode, you find out.
Yeah.
I wonder if Jordan Peele, when he wrote Us, if he had
Right.
watched this, or obviously this has been something that's been talked about. It's been done in the Twilight Zone. I love the Twilight Zone. I loved how they opened up these ones, especially in the earlier seasons when Marge would come out and say, "We warned you last year.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
just do whatever you want to do," type of
I
thing.
I loved that. Like, I wish they would kept that up. Like, you could
I
have
did
kept
too.
that up with with Marge coming out and doing a bit, or like, it's just like that. That's a cute little way to like start it up of just like, I don't know. And again, it's sort of tantamount to like The Simpsons kind of still going, and like
Mhm.
what it was a parody of, and like what it was like meant to be is this like satirization of squeaky clean suburban life. And so like Marge was that. So like her being like the, well, it might disturb some of the younger children, it's that, like, it's just, that's great. Like, that's great stuff. I don't know if like Marge embodies that anymore. I haven't watched the show in forever. I think they killed Marge off in like a future episode or something recently. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Like, again, like it's still around. It's fine. I wish it would go away so I could remember it fondly. But
Mhm.
like, but yeah, there's just like that fun little bit of like, we're going into into an anthology now. They always were made sure that you set it up with this idea. I don't know if they do like the what do they call that gag where it's like a framing device. I don't know if they do a framing device for these episodes anymore, but you had the Halloween party where the kids were all telling stories and Bart was, dressed up as Alex
Homeboy from
from
Clockwork Orange.
from Clockwork Orange. It's
Yeah.
just like, all right. Like, I didn't get that when I was a kid. Like, but yeah, it's like those framing devices are always fun. The first one was they're actually in the treehouse telling
Mhm.
stories and stuff like that. I don't know if they still even do that or if they just like go into it and it's just like Treehouse Horror. We're doing that. So
I think they just open. I mean, they might do a revisit here and there. Oh, shit, give me a
yeah.
second.
Yep.
Man, my voice today is absolute dog shit. But I've seen a couple of them where they'll do a little bit of setup, and then but
Mhm.
sometimes they're just jumping right into it.
Right.
And then they've had some like really good ones. Not as of late, but definitely past that 10 season mark. I mean, the one that stands out to me the most is probably the Stranger Things when they did the whole Stranger Things episode. I just thought that one
Mm,
was beautiful. The
right.
animation was really cool on that one. I loved the little digs that they took at at Netflix and everything like that. So
Right. Yeah. I think the only one that I know anything of recently, I did know they did a Stranger Things one. I don't think I've seen a clip of it. But they did a Death Note episode.
really,
That was done anime style. That was interesting. I just saw clips of it. I didn't watch the episode, but yeah, they had a Death Note episode, and I was like, okay, they're expanding into like
Mhm.
other. It's weird to have Simpsons reference in a specific anime, but like I appreciate it because they have to parody the things that are in the zeitgeist. That's kind of the point. So that helps.
Oh, that it does, man. And which episode was it where they were doing the whole Twilight episode, Twilight Zone episode where they're in the airplane, the little demons tearing the
Oh yeah,
part off the.
yeah. It's the bus. It's when he was on the bus. It was man, I forgot what that episode was called, but but Bart was on the
Mhm.
Otto's bus going on a field
Yeah.
trip, and yeah, it was the little gremlin running around destroying the thing. What was that episode called? That's a classic
Fuck.
too. People
That's not
love
the
that
thing.
one.
That's not the thing, and I wasn't.
No, that's the Bart and the evil twin
Oh yeah,
episode.
yeah, that's right, that's right. Man, it might have been in the same that same span of episodes.
Yeah, it
You
might have
know,
been the same ones. Yeah, so it's
but
hard to
I
remember.
loved whenever they would echo because I watched the Twilight Zone with my grandpa all the time, man, and it's
Mhm.
so cool. I think it's on either on Amazon or it's on Netflix. I can't remember which one, but just like dipping my toes back in that, and then seeing the stories from the Twilight Zone pop up in The Simpsons or pop up in other shows that were popular that were kind of mirroring it. I mean, Rod Sterling, a fucking genius through and through, back in the
Yeah,
day, but that's
yeah.
neither here nor there.
I, can I just? I want to. I
Oh,
want to
oh, go
talk.
for it.
I want to talk about Rod Sterling too because I absolutely love Rod Sterling.
Oh, cool.
One of the first auteurs of of a show. Like
Hmm.
you didn't really have that where a guy like one dude was like, I'm gonna profess this show. I'm going to
Yes.
hire the directors. I'm going to hire the writers, and I'm going to like come up with these concepts and produce this whole thing. He was your first auteur TV maker, and that you get that all the time now. And like Sterling was that. Like, man, what a
voice too.
what a legend, absolute legend. So good. So
R.I.P. Rod. We miss you.
R.I.P.
We need you back. And I love what Jordan Poole did with the Twilight Zone. I loved how he kind of paid homage to it. I know it got a kind of like it's like a fit. Now I want to say 50-50 because I think a lot of people that I talked to that were actually talking to people in person, just reading what people were fucking talking about online. A lot of people liked it. You know, it's definitely different. It wasn't that original. Wasn't your dad's Twilight Zone, but it was really cool, really inventive, and like a really nice twist on something. You know.
Yeah, I need to give it a watch because I haven't seen his version of it. I like all three of his movies though. I like I think Get Out is like I think it's probably his best movie. I
love Us. I like Us so much.
Us, you and my brother really enjoyed that. I like that one up until the reveal at the end. Like it broke my brain a little bit. Not the twin reveal. That was good. Like or the mom reveal. That was a great
at the
reveal.
end of the smile.
Yeah, I couldn't get behind the logistics of everyone being. It's like, all right, like he could have said the town or like a smaller amount of people were like these clones or whatever. But again, visually and like idea wise, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. And then, but my favorite's Nope. I absolutely love Nope. Nope was I just saw it recently, like literally like a month or two ago, and fantastic. I absolutely love that movie. It's basically Tremors, and I love Tremors, and I love Tremors, and that movie is Tremors. And I remember people talking like smack about that movie, and I was like, but I'd never been spoiled about what it was about or how it was, so I was super happy with how it with the ending and like all like the reveals and everything. I thought it was great. What a great movie Nope is. It's so awesome.
It absolutely is. And anytime anybody can pay homage to Tremors, dude, one of Kevin Bacon's finest films of all time.
Finest movies.
Ladies and gentlemen, if this podcast does anything, go watch all these Treehouse of Horrors, but also go watch Tremors. Tremors is a fantastic movie.
Yes.
All right. So, so we talked The Thing and I, and then the one, what was it? What was the zombie one again? What was the name of that one?
Dial Z for Zombies.
Dial Z for Zombies. It's such a fun episode. And one thing that I loved that they did, we talked about it a little bit. You use the word framing, but like whenever they would do the whole, spooky Springfield entrance, right? I loved all of the tombstones that would have all of the names that kind of just set you in the mood. And then just going, the gag that I love the most about this one, after the opening, they raised the army. And I can't remember what Homer said originally to set it up. But he's like, did you do such and such? Like, no. Did you raise the army of the dead or whatever it was? And they go, yep. He's and he just, I love that like meta bullshit,
Yeah. So good. Such good stuff. Shooting Flanders with the shotgun. It's like, Dad, you shot the zombie. You shot the zombie Flanders. He was a zombie. Like, I remember we watched that episode, me and my entire family. Oh, this is also the same one. It's the same episode with the clown, the clown without pity. So it's probably why I remember this one and that one so well. We were all watching this one as it aired on Fox. Me and my family were in the living room, and we died at that joke of like, and it's such a common yuck dad joke nowadays, but like, just like he was a zombie, like we cracked up. Like it was so funny. We all died at that one. It was so funny.
The comedic timing was fantastic. Just the quick look. He was a zombie.
He was a zombie because you weren't really expecting it because he's very clearly a zombie. Let me nibble on your ear, Homer. It's like he's very clearly a zombie. So you weren't expecting that to be you thought he just like would have like because you could have like just like boom, he shoots him. Oh, that felt good, because like he got to shoot Flanders or whatever. But it's like they actually made him ignorant enough to be like he would have just shot Flanders had he not been a zombie. It's so good. And then the part where they're going through the school and he's beating down all the zombies. It's like, take that, Washington. And then it shows over Shakespeare. And it's like, even as a kid, I'm like, why are these people buried in Springfield? Like, why is Shakespeare there? Why is George Washington in Springfield? It doesn't make any sense. It's so good. So good.
And I love anytime, like, Mr. Burns is definitely my favorite character. Second favorite character has got to be Willie, the groundskeeper Willie. I
Yeah.
wish I could do a Scottish accent just so I could do a Willie. But it was funny because he was planting the plants right outside of the school, and
Yep.
two of them pop up and he just beats the shit out of them with a shovel and then
Yeah.
covers them back up with the dirt. It was just
Yes.
little gags like that that didn't do anything to drive the story, was just
Mhm.
there for, it was a quick there and gone. It was just strictly humor. I
Yep.
find so fun about these episodes in particular. It really felt like Brad said at the beginning, he's like, they didn't get extra money, they didn't get extra time. Like, there was no more money put into this episode than it was any of the other episodes
Right.
throughout the seasons. But it was just like, it felt like they were firing on all cylinders. It felt like it was something they were showing up for. You know what I mean? Like, we're
Right.
here. This was the start. Always, it always felt like me. Like, whenever I think of, The Simpsons, I generally think of the Treehouse of Horrors. They're synonymous with each other. And
Yeah.
there was always the mark of, like, not usually the first episode, but it always felt like that was the opening for The Simpsons, if that made any sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You kind of get the sense that like, like in the writers' room, it was like a competition to get on the
Mhm.
board for one of these. You'd pitch your
Yeah.
ideas and it's like if I can get on the Treehouse of Horrors, like that would be, that
I'm going to
that's
crush it.
I'm gonna crush that, like that it felt that way. Like they put the real extra effort into it. And like all the really good ones, obviously, like that, like when this started going through, like this is when The Simpsons was at its peak, like
Mhm.
that season 2 to season 9 run of The Simpsons is just like pure comedy gold
Mhm.
television where you have Conan O'Brien writing, you have dang it, Saul Goodman, what is his name, I forget his name,
Oh, oh
uh
shit.
it's left
As
my
soon as we
brain.
stop talking about him, he'll
Bob
come back
Odenkirk.
in. Yep,
Bob
there you go.
Odenkirk. Bob Odenkirk. Like those guys are writing episodes of The
Mhm.
Simpsons. Like go back and watch that writing cast over there. It's just like they're all just like pitching for this idea, to get on the board for the with a stupid Halloween parody. It's like because that's everybody remembers them. Remember, it was an event. Like Treehouse of Horror was an event every time. Like it's like it was like watching How the Grinch Stole Christmas or
Great Pumpkin
Merry
Charlie Brown.
Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown or Merry Christmas Charlie Brown. It was a tradition. Like it was gonna be
Yeah,
on the air and people
it's
were gonna
appointment
enjoy it.
TV.
Yeah. So it's good stuff.
Absolutely. What was one of the other ones that we didn't talk
Uh
about yet?
the last one I had was it's one of the three of my favorite all time episode of all
Oh
three
wow.
stories, which is the Shinnin. The Shinnin,
Mhm.
which is the Shining parody. Um and that one was along that episode came along with the ones where the teachers were eating the kids.
Mhm.
I think it was like cafeteria or something, faculty cafeteria, and the one where Homer was drifting through dimensions trying to find his dimension. Those three episodes are my favorite overall,
Yeah.
even though the ones I mentioned are like like individually some of my favorites there. This episode is my favorite overall because this is the one where Willie goes through each episode and gets brutally murdered through each one, and it's set up for the idea that he's the guy that's supposed to save Bart in The Shining and gets axe murdered
The shit
just like
trademarked.
yes, yeah, exactly. Shannon, you want to get sued? Yeah, like quiet. But he gets killed like Scatman Jones gets killed in the
Mhm.
original Shining episode or Shining movie. So because like he's supposed to save the kid, and he gets killed like immediately. So that little Kubrick twist, and the whole idea of like Willie dying in every episode is to set up that he just gets axe murdered at the end of The Shining of the Shinnin. So it's good stuff. It's great stuff, and plus, you know, uh, all work and no play make Homer something something go crazy. Don't mind if I do. It's so good.
It's just the
Uh,
whole opening sequence to this one
yeah,
where it's Mr. Burns, walking through, giving them the whole layout and then them taking all of the beer, canceling the cable.
yeah,
And then I love the introduction for the blood coming down. He's like, usually the
yeah.
blood stops at the second floor or whatever it was.
Yes, yes. The urge to kill rising bit, urge to kill
Yeah.
fading, because they found a little radio TV for an urge to kill fading, rising, fading, fading. It's like so good, so good. Love it.
It's some of the dumbest in the best possible way. When I say dumbest, like 90s dumb, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is like
Yeah.
one of the dumbest scenes, dumbest skits, like, but
Mhm.
such brilliant jokes at the end of it. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they took the simplest, and I don't even want to like try to dilute what they did because what they did is like second to none during this era, you know, but
Mhm.
it was like when you look at it now, it's like, man, that's so simple, but it takes somebody
Mhm.
at such a high level to make something so massive feel so simple to us fans.
Right. Yeah. And utilizing characters in like in the right way,
Mhm.
having Willie be the groundskeeper that's going to save him that gets killed, or just the twins, like because
Instantly,
it's
instantly.
instantly killed, instantly dead, and it's I'll here to save you, boy. It's good. And the twins that were
Yeah.
like the twins were actually inspired by the twins from The Shining when they were put in the background of The Simpsons. So then, of course, they're the two ghosts of the twins in the episode that's about The Shining. So it's brilliant. Yeah, that's just like a writes itself sort of thing. Yeah, and that was like the first introduction to The Shining too. I'd never watched The Shining because I was
Mhm.
too young, and I remember seeing the scene with the twins when I was young. Slightly after this, maybe it's slightly before it, somewhere around the same age, and it terrified me. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
"Nope, never watching that movie. Absolutely not. No." And it took I like legitimately, I think I was like late teens before I actually sat down and watched The Shining all the way through because I was traumatized by that. And I was like, I know what happens. I watched The Simpsons, so I watched The Shining. So,
It's definitely one of the most iconic movies of all time. Like I'm not the biggest fan of the movie The Shining
mhm.
because it's hard to beat Stephen King's book, man. And I think
Right.
anybody that has to direct a Stephen King book has, unless you're getting 12 or 13 episodes of a series, I think you're going to do yourself and the crowd and anybody else is going to go see that a huge disservice because what Stephen King does in the first 100 pages of a book by laying groundwork, by laying the whole mood and everything about the story you're about to read, it's impossible to do in an hour and a
Yeah.
half. Back then, I think The Shining was probably like a 2 hour movie, that one in
Yeah.
particular, you know, but
Yeah.
it's such an iconic movie because there was so many iconic scenes between the twins holding hands, come play with us forever and ever, to the
Mhm.
blood, to the axe, you know, and then you find out later, I believe that whole axe scene with Jack Nicholson was improvised. I don't think Here's Johnny was written into the script. I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah.
But I loved the gag with Homer getting the axe and he goes to hit the first door and it's the wrong fucking floor he's on. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
and he's got to go up to the next one. He hits it and he's poking his head in. You
Yes.
know, I think was it the rule of three? He does it three
Ye-
times in this one.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
three times. Yep. Absolutely. So good. And man, like there's so many cartoons that parody this thing too. It happens in Rocco's Modern Life. They
Mhm.
parody The Simpsons or they parody The Shining. So yeah, it's so iconic and like the Simpsons take on it is perfect because
Yeah.
you take away beer, you take away TV, and you know uh, Homer just becomes insane. So
Yeah.
good stuff. Good stuff.
That he does. And I love the ending where they still did the ending from The Shining, but in The
Yep.
Shining, and then everybody freezes, you know?
Everybody freezes. Yeah, they just freeze watching TV. So it's like,
Well,
uh,
absolutely.
what, what
You
was
know, so go ahead.
what was on the TV that made his urge to kill rise again? I can't remember what it was now.
Oh,
Because like
fuck.
they're watching something and just like, oh, now all the blah blah blah, and it's just
Was
like,
it the
oh no,
news?
it might be the news. It was something specific. I feel like I gotta watch it again.
Yeah.
Down in the comments, let us
Yeah,
know
hit us
what
in the
that was.
comments, ladies and gentlemen. We did a horrible job at like, and I
Yeah,
just watched this shit last night and this morning.
it's fine.
Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, blame it on the weed, not my heart. You know, as we start to wind down here, man, what are some of the honorable mentions you might have? Like going through and looking at the Treehouse of Horror. Is there any that stick out to you that we can send the fans towards?
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, like the other two from this episode are
Mhm.
fantastic. The one where the teachers are eating the students, where they just, but that one's so funny because like they literally just like get a taste of is it Gunter? I want to say like a piece of like a bit of gravy like spills on it, and then Principal Skinner like tastes it or something. It's like, and then they just immediately all just start eating the children. Like it's just like it's the most one time little thing occurs and they become these evil monsters. Like I love stupid little things like that where it's just like, let's just speed this up. We don't have time to explain why they're doing this. So, gravy gets spilled on Gunther and they start eating him. So it's ridiculous. I think it
They've
might have
always
been
got to hit the fat boy with gravy.
exactly. It might have been Gunther's introduction to the show too. Maybe might not have
Well, I
been.
know he was on. I know he was on the because they strapped him next to Bart on the bus when the little gremlin was ripping everything apart, and he was
Yes,
offering him the candy and shit
that
like that.
I think that was actually his first appearance. I
Yeah.
think it was that year. Because he was a Treehouse of Horror character and then got kind of moved into the actual show. But yeah, he got in a few of those as like a one timer. So as the foreign exchange student, yeah, because that's right. Because they had to sit. You have to go in the back and sit next to the foreign exchange student. He's like, oh hi there, Bart. It's like just
Guten
so
Tag.
Guten Tag. And it's like good stuff. But yeah, definitely that one where they're eating the kids. Homer dimension hopping obviously is great. My top one is of course you and Brad talked about it. The Flanders being the devil. That's
Oh, so
that's
good.
that's top tier. I absolutely love that episode. Oh, the donuts in the world, and he he just eats all the donuts and like we don't have any left.
More,
Yeah, more,
more.
more. It's like it's so funny. Good stuff.
Now, I asked Brad this about that episode in particular, and I can't remember if this was in this episode or if it was something a different episode. But was that the same episode where you know how you have a like an axe or a what is it called, a fire extinguisher, where it's like break glass in case of emergency? Was that a part of the episode where Homer had an emergency donut? He goes to break the glass, and there is an IOU by Homer for eating the last emergency donut.
I yes, I think that might
Yeah.
have been. I feel like it was, yeah, because like no, that might have been a different episode
Okay.
because he does just wake up in the middle of the night and he goes into the fridge. He's like,
The fridge and eats the little piece.
hungry, and it literally says forbidden donut. And he goes, oh,
Yeah.
forbidden donut, and he eats it. It's just like why, like it's like why would you do that? So yeah, I think the glass the break the glass is another episode for sure.
Okay.
But yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, yeah. But
God, there's so many of these episodes
classic,
out there, ladies and gentlemen.
right?
It's hard to keep them all
It's,
on track.
it's a lot. Simpsons has been on for a
Fucking
long time.
what is it? 35 seasons, 36 seasons?
36, I think they're on right now. Yeah,
Jesus Christ, dude. They've
it's
been around
insane.
just as long as I've been around.
Yep, yep. It's
And
crazy.
you were here before me.
Yeah, yeah. It's been around a while. It's been around a long time. Like,
No, as we start to wind down, man. Obviously, usually when I shit, I always have a stroke towards the end of this shit. As we tend to wind down, I'd be remiss not to ask you at least one more question. This has nothing to do with The Simpsons. That's something you have to do with something you mentioned earlier. What was your dad's holy grail of a toy? Did he have one, or did he have a holy grail of a franchise? What did he like to collect with his toys?
oh man, one of his big ones was he had all the TMNT ones back in the
Mhm.
day, which was great. He has since sold those. He sold those a long time ago, actually,
Did he
which was a
open them,
shame.
or did he leave them on the card?
He did open all of his. He liked to display. Nowadays he'll keep them in the package and like display them that way. But he had shelves aligned
Yeah.
through the whole thing, so he would open them. He didn't care about the packaging. He wanted to have the figures out and displayed, but he was always smart about keeping them, clean, keeping all the accessories with them.
Yes.
So that was always a big deal to him. I want to say TMNT. He had all the GI Joes, not all of them, but he had the GI Joes. I think he still has most of his GI Joes,
Mhm.
and that I think was his big deal. I think he liked the GI Joes the most, which was the old 6-inch ones, not the
Yeah.
or not a 6-inch, the 4-inch. The 4-inch GI Joes were his. Those were his jam, I think. That those seemed to be the ones that he enjoyed the most because he never collected the vehicles really. Any vehicle that he bought it for the figure that came with the vehicle, and then
Yeah.
he would give me and my brother the vehicle. It's like, here you go, you can have the vehicle for Christmas, but that one's mine. It's like he would take the figure. So that was funny, but yeah, man, there was that. He had the He-Man figures for a long time. He since sold those. He's yeah, but I would say probably his GI Joes are probably a big holy grail for him. He loves those. So, and right now it's his Legion of Superheroes figures. That was one thing that he bought that I helped him out with because he has a Legion of Superhero set, and they didn't do any of like the female characters from it apart from like a
Mhm.
few. So he tracked down a guy who does custom ones,
Oh,
and
that's
he
pretty
bought
dope.
yeah, and like these custom ones go for pretty well, for pretty good. But he did those, and then he bought packages, and then I like mimicked the packaging and like did
Hmm.
took some my graphic design skills, matched the packaging and printed them out, and we set those up. So now he has like these other custom figures that match all the rest of them. So it was
Dude,
pretty
that is
cool to see
so
those.
fucking cool, man. You should put
Yeah,
some pictures up of that on your Instagram page. I'm pretty sure some people would love to see
that'd be
that.
that'd be a good idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
terrible
something
at
cool to see.
I'm terrible at Instagram, so I should learn how to
Awesome.
use it a little bit better. So.
In the words of Bobby Boucher's mom, man, the internet's the devil. The social media is the devil.
It's true. It's true. It
Now,
is.
there's something that I've always wanted to ask you, but I always fucking forget because it's just like it's one of those thoughts that are here now. Now, you had
Hmm.
mentioned He-Man. Now, I was
Hmm.
never the biggest He-Man fan,
Hmm.
but Thundar the Barbarian is one of my
Ah,
favorite cartoons of all time. It doesn't
yes.
get brought up enough. Did you
Hmm.
watch this one when it was coming out?
Absolutely. No, it was before my time. Well, was it? Was it in reruns when I was
It's
watching it,
mid
or was it?
80s. I
Yeah,
got the
it's mid
DVD around here
'80s.
somewhere.
I think it was in reruns when I was watching it because I want to say I watched it about '90. So it was like 1990 or so when I was watching it. So it was a little bit when it was in reruns, but yes, absolutely. I loved Thundar because it was like, oh, cool, it's Conan the Barbarian with Chewbacca. That's awesome. that's rad as hell. Like that's awesome, you know. And my dad loved Thundar too. Like he thought it was really cool. But most of the Conan style stuff, like I think we liked essentially all of that stuff. And yeah, no, Thundar was great. Had a freaking electric sword that was awesome. I read a rad article about it not too long ago on uh retro magazine that my dad gets, and there was a whole two-part article in two issues where they were just interviewing the animators for that, and it was really
Really?
cool. Yeah, it's very cool. I should I have the PDFs. I should send those to you, actually. I
Oh
have
yes,
the
please, because
I
I've been trying to track down anybody and everybody on this show
Yeah.
because this is back when Cartoon Network was playing all the old. This is right
Yes.
after they bought Ruby Spears, Hanna-Barbera, and all of those.
Mhm.
So they were just it was just the oh fuck, what is it, the what do they call that shit? The
uh
rerun network,
the
the
rerun,
rerun
yeah.
network. So it was just everything you could possibly think of. And I remember seeing this as a little kid. I would watch the old school. I mean, that's why Godzilla is back there, the old
Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera
The
Godzilla. You
old
know what I mean? And Space Ghost and Thundar.
Mhm.
And I remember watching this show, and I've had a couple stepdads, and one of the ones that I had, I'm not going to bring up his name. He's a dick. But he was really big into Conan the Barbarian. He was
Mhm.
really big into like this Western writer, Louis L'Amour, I think that was his name.
Mhm.
But I remember watching Thundar the Barbarian, and he had like all the Conan books. He had all of
Mhm.
I think they only had like one Conan. Like he had the most massive VHS collection, like movie collection, TV show, and all the things they could put on VHS at the time. Like you would open up the closet door in the hallway, and it was like a long ass hallway, 20 feet or whatever it is, and it was
Yeah.
just all of the Jackie Chan. That's how I fell in love with Jackie Chan. All of the Steven
Yeah.
Seagal, all of the Walker, excuse me, all the Chuck Norris, And I
Yeah.
remember watching Thundar the Barbarian when he was watching us one day, and he goes, "Hey, this is Conan, right?" And I go, "I don't even know what I'm fucking six. I don't know what Conan is." When he shows me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this might be like the greatest superhero." Obviously, Batman's the greatest superhero, but I was like, "This might be the greatest superhero of all time." And like I
Yeah.
said, it's just I don't get to meet anybody that's really watched Thundar. You're probably the first person, only person I've talked to in the last 20 years that know what Thundar the Barbarian is.
Right.
So I'm glad you know something about Thundar the Barbarian. Did they ever do any toys? Did your dad collect that, or
Uh,
did?
they did recently, actually. They did
Oh,
a. They
really?
did a. Yeah, they did a Cartoon Network was doing a bunch of like classic stuff, and my
This is a
dad has the
horrible time
set.
for my bank account.
I know, right? My dad has the full set. It's Thundar, Ariel, and Ukla in
He
a
just
little
had the
three
coolest
pack.
fucking name in the world.
Yeah, Ukla the mock.
I can't
It's like
remember.
what is a mock? They never explain it, but
Well, they're
but
up
yeah,
there. He's right up.
yeah,
There. I haven't put
yeah.
the permanent marker to him, but they're right above Bob's. I've got all three of
Yeah.
them up there.
Yeah.
And it sucks because well, it doesn't suck, but I had somebody on recently, and then I was looking over their IMDb credits just in case they wanted to talk about something other than the three things I had them on, and I go,
Hmm.
oh fuck, they were on Thundar the Barbarian. And then I was like, hey, please tell me that this is real. This isn't a joke. I was like, this is one of my favorite shows of all time. I was like, please let me know if you can talk about this. And he was like, I never worked on this show at all. He was like, IMDb is so
Oh,
fucked. I'm
wow.
like, oh God,
Wow.
please. So yeah, man, any Thundar the Barbarian talk,
Yeah.
I'd be remiss not to ask you about.
Yeah, I man, there's a story from I'll send you the article. If we could do a Thundar episode, then I can tell that
I would
story
love to do
actually.
it. Do
I
you
think that'd
have
be great.
do you
Yeah.
have they because they released, I don't know if I bought it on Blu-ray or if I bought it on fucking regular DVD, but they did release the entire series not too long ago.
Yeah, yeah. I think they released on Blu-ray. I think my dad has the Blu-ray and the DVDs. I typically, if my dad gets them, I don't pick them up because I'll probably just inherit his at some
Yeah,
point. So it's I don't want to think about that. But it's like it would be I'd be kind of like doubling up if I had it. So I usually only get stuff that he's probably not going to get. But I know that he has the DVDs, and they probably picked up the Blu-ray too for sure. So
dude,
yeah,
it's
good stuff.
it's cool. It's pretty. It does not make me feel like a kid again, but it is. I don't know. It was such a flash in the pan for a show. It didn't
Hmm.
have the greatest rating. It's not like it's the greatest story, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the greatest art. There is a lot of shortcuts in this one, but it's such a
Yeah.
beautiful show. It's a fun show.
And it was ambitious for the time because it was just like oh, here's this barbarian, but it's like it's a post-apocalyptic show. Like you don't
Yes.
like what like they're going through the ruins of like New York City and stuff
Mhm.
where sorcerers are, and like it has like dark sorcery, sword and sorcery adventures. Like you didn't get that like in cartoons at the time. So it was very cool. It was very cool. I loved it.
That it was, man. And man, I think that'll be it for the show. We'll do some talking
Yeah.
after we pause it.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, this has been our Halloween episode here. We talked some man, I've only done maybe like three or four Simpsons episodes so far. I've had a couple of directors on, a couple of writers, and a couple of the artists on.
Nice.
And so I've been wanting to do this one for a while because, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for saying this is like the 14th fucking time this episode, man. But you don't have the Simpsons if you don't have the Treehouse of Horror, and you don't have the Treehouse of Horror. Like I said, synonymous with one another. That's been Brennan. I've been Julian. This has been the Cartoon Chronicles podcast, and this has been another piece of your childhood. Good night.